Welcome everybody to episode 3777, the Cyber Dumpster Fire 2020 episode. Today we're talking about Cyberpunk, because literally nobody on the internet is talking about it right now, so we thought we would take the chance and do that.
Breaking news, dudes. Breaking news.
Welcome to Hotfix, the weekly podcast that dives into the fascinating world of streaming, gaming, and esports. With your hosts, Brant Vladichuk and Jeremy Kelly.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hotfix Podcast, episode 3777, Cyberpunk Dumpster Fire 2020.
Yeah,
I think that was right.
we both got it first try.
That's amazing, man. We are really, really good at our unpaid jobs.
Right.
Like very efficient.
So I just want to make a really quick disclaimer that this episode we are not judging the game itself. I think
No, absolutely not.
the game is sick. I think we both think the game is really good. There's just a few issues around the release.
Yeah, there's a few teensy tiny issues that may warrant some conversation.
Yeah. So just, we're not judging the game. The game is good.
Right.
So-
Yes, absolutely. It's so fitting that we spent this year in such misery, and then like the last bastion of hope for gamers gets absolutely thrown up on by its own developers.
I mean, to be honest, if this game released like perfectly without a hitch or like problem, I think that would have been more concerning for 2020.
Yeah, that's true. So wait.
It's like,
what
do you mean this was perfect?
In some way. Man, like I know you have like a bunch of notes and like some things that you want to get into, and I just want to like real quick just be like, if you're like, what boggles my mind with this whole fiasco of the current gen version of Cyberpunk and how horrendously it runs is like, I don't get working passionately on a project for 7 years and then at the last minute being like, this is fine. Like I don't understand where that mindset comes in. Like I know they said in like one of their press releases where it's like, we obviously didn't pay enough attention to the current gen version of the game. Like, no shit, like obviously, but someone there played it.
Well, like on that point,
Like, surely.
like even in a pre-release investor statement, the CEO literally said it runs surprisingly well on current gen. So,
but is he calling Series X and PS5 current gen?
hell
You know
no,
what I mean?
dude. Like
Like,
there's a very big disconnect between the developers, the people actually coding and creating the game,
Yes,
and the
yeah,
upper
yeah.
management.
yes, very obviously.
And I was reading, I skimmed an article today, so grain of salt. But like, apparently the developers, the programmers they're not stoked. They're apparently there's a little bit of a revolt happening.
Yeah, I mean,
They're questioning why that statement I just made was made back in January. That's when that statement was
right?
made.
Yeah,
A year ago
when
that statement was made.
I mean, at this point, everyone's seen like the videos and the screenshots and all this kind of shit. Like where the texture pop in takes like a minute and a half.
and fucking
it looks like you're playing
Reeves. Like
it looks like you're playing GoldenEye 2077. It's
like it's not ready for current gen consoles, not in the slightest.
no, oh my god, not even remotely close. Like, see, the thing for me is like, if they had to release it now, which like, I mean, fair enough. Like, if you have to get it out, you have to get it out. The game on PC and on like the new gen consoles is like really good, and like we said, that's why we're not judging the game itself. The game itself is supposed to be very, very good, not perfect, but very, very good. I just don't understand how you could see how it runs on current gen, like months and months and months ago, and not just be like, you know what, we have to bite this bullet and be like, the current gen consoles are not capable of meeting the vision that we are trying to reach with Cyberpunk 2077. Therefore, it's going to be a next gen only and PC release.
Yeah, I'm sure there
Like,
are
I
some
don't
sort of
understand.
deals with
Like, I don't
Sony
understand
and
how that didn't happen.
Microsoft.
Like again, no, and certainly there was deals, but like, good Jesus, you have to like, there's no way on God's green earth that you can see that happening and think you're like going to get away with it. Like,
Yeah, I guess it's like when do you like you said, it was like in development for 7 years. Like, yeah, when you can't develop something forever, obviously.
of course, yeah.
It got delayed
But
3 times.
but
But
don't you think they should have just said like a year ago that like, okay, this game can't come out on current gen? Like,
oh,
that
100%.
would have, and they would have taken heat for it. But it's like, if the current gens are too weak to do the things you're trying to do, then I don't know, man. Sorry, but like
Like they've been
those consoles
disingenuous
are
with a lot of things they've said. They said it was not going to be delayed. They said that twice. They said
Yeah.
it's coming out for sure this time. They reassured people that, yeah, take time off to get the game because we're not
Right,
delaying
yeah.
it. It's coming out. They said they were never going to have a crunch, even though, in my honest opinion, the crunch for this is a non-crunch. What they had to do for the crunch is not that bad of a crunch.
Right.
I think that's a discussion for another time, though.
Yeah, that certainly is a different discussion for sure. But it's
A lot of disingenuous statements.
it's what it seems like, and it's such a shame too, because CD Projekt Red had such a great reputation going into the release of Cyberpunk. Right? Like on the back of Witcher 3, which is like widely considered one of the best RPGs of this generation or of the last decade kind of thing. The money they would have had would have been tons, like tons and tons and tons of money.
Yeah.
Again, 7-year development cycle. You would think all the resources anyone could want. And again, it's like to fail at such a crucial stage in such a big development cycle with such a hyped game, and it's the biggest shame in it all is that now everyone just thinks Cyberpunk 2077 sucks. Like everyone just thinks that the game is broken, and I'm sure there's people that don't realize that it's only broken. Well, I shouldn't say only broken, but it's so horrendously broken is on current gen consoles.
Yeah.
So there's probably people who have a great PC and are just like, no, this looks like ass. IGN reviewed it with a 3. And didn't realize that that there's a difference, right? Like, so, like a lot of people don't look that deep into articles, and a lot of people just look at like the Twitter quick little like flash note, right?
Yeah, of course. And like it isn't perfect on a high end PC. Like even with I was watching someone with a 3090 like i9 build, like one of the best builds you could do to date. And it like maxed out ray tracing, all the bells and whistles, wasn't hitting 60 FPS.
Yeah, and like it's so.
It should be like that's a build. That is a fucking build.
Yeah, and
it should be
I
hitting.
Think the thing is as
like,
well.
It should be hitting at least 60 FPS.
Yeah, I mean, people, like a lot of gamers have kind of grown to expect like the Bethesda thing, right? Where the big open world that's a super great game that's just loaded with bugs. Like that's like Bethesda's like signature, right? So for it to come out and have bugs isn't surprising, I suppose. But for it to be not optimized when the whole thing is ray tracing and DLSS and next gen, all the fancy tech that goes into modern games now. It's like this was supposed to be like the showcase for all of that put into one thing. and then to not even optimize it well enough so that people with even top of the line gear can't run it at 4K 60 FPS solid. Like, again, it's such a failing of promises, even on the consoles or the rigs where it runs well, or you can actually, it's playable and looks great and is fun, right?
And like, don't forget, like if it's had a 7-year development cycle, the majority of the development has been on last gen consoles.
Absolutely, yeah. It's when you start adding then your ray tracing and all these kind of things, on top of it, like, because I guess ray tracing wouldn't even really
it wouldn't, like, ray tracing won't even be like, it's not going to be on, like, just turn that off for last gen consoles. Apparently make it look like an N64 game as well in the process.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's there's a conversation to be had there about not fulfilling or over promising to the consumer and building fake hype and just releasing games that aren't, like, it sucks that we're in this thing of video games where you buy the game but then you have to download a day one patch that's 35 gigs.
Yeah.
To fix a whole pile of shit, and then you're like, and even then still it's like playable, but it's still riddled with bugs. You're like, man, I guess, like, this is what happened to me with Watch Dogs Legion. I was like streaming that. I was like, and I played, like, I did like 2 streams of it, and I was like, man, there's too many bugs in this for it to be enjoyable. So, like, I guess I'll wait for a couple of major patches to come out and then come back and try it. But it's like, it's CD Projekt Red, it's Ubisoft, it's like these gigantic game companies, and I don't know where the pressure is coming from for these studios to release games even if they're not ready to be released. Because, like you said, certainly the developers know they're not ready to be released.
Well, like,
right, there's no
like
developer putting out Cyberpunk, and they're going to be like, man, I can't wait for this to go out because we're definitely going to get a month off and not have to patch anything.
Like, with
right?
any
It's like, okay,
company, like, it's at the end of the day, it's some board of directors in some room who's never even seen the game in their life, worrying only about the bottom line, and not really taking the developers into consideration, the game into consideration, like
or the
getting
consumer
this,
into consideration.
like getting this game out instead of delaying it again. It was like, well, now it has to go out, or we're going to lose a bunch of money. Well, guess what?
Right.
You didn't delay it again. It went out, and now your stock price went from 120 US to 70 US.
Right.
Like,
so you've already lost
like,
a bunch of money.
This is the biggest launch of 2020, and your stock price was nearly cut in half. It should be fucking going up, not going down.
100%, because wasn't it on day one of launch, like before all the refunds and before all this shit came out, didn't they actually break even on the game on the first day? Like, it sold so well day one that they've made back all their money. Now they haven't anymore because they've had to refund
And on the topic of refunds,
thousands of copies.
Like, how, okay, on the part of, like, again, CD Projekt Red really tarnishing their reputation, is that recent announcement on refunds. They did not clear that with Microsoft or Sony first.
That blows my mind.
So that's why Sony was declining refunds, because they're totally in their right to define the refunds.
Right.
Because CD Projekt Red put that announcement out without consulting Sony, like their partners, Sony or Microsoft first, to make sure that's A-okay. And so Sony was just like, oh, no, you can't have a refund. You've bought it and you've played it for this amount of hours. We're not going to refund it.
Right.
And so now there's this huge disconnect. And now people are like, well, they just said you could refund it, and now you're not.
Yeah, exactly. So then Sony pulls the game entirely from the store.
Yeah. So Sony...
So now talk about loss of revenue.
So Sony's
right?
like, oh, you're not going to consult us before telling everybody you can refund the game? Okay, we'll refund everybody, but we're also going to completely pull your game from our store, so you can't sell it anymore.
And now you can't sell it. So good luck, everyone.
GG's, well played.
Yeah. Man, like, I don't know who the bigwigs at CD Projekt Red or maybe it's the publisher or whatever, like, who these bigwigs are that think they can just, like, make all of the decisions, like, as if it's like a one-man job. You know what I mean? Like, there's not
Fuck.
signed contracts and partnerships worth millions of dollars involved. Like, I don't know what these people think they're doing, but it's a horrendous show of business sense. That's like without a doubt.
There's
And
just
you know
been
what I gotta say is, you know, with what you're seeing from Cyberpunk now, all I can do is like tip my hat to Halo, like to 343. Like
yeah,
for
like
delaying it for delaying Halo a year.
a year. Like, oh my
Because
god, just
what was-
release it
because
right.
Well, exactly, right? It's like when they did that thing back in July or whatever it was, when, you know, when they had like, what was his name? The dude.
Craig the Brute?
Yeah, like when Craig showed up, like that dude, that's what Cyberpunk looks like on current gen.
Yeah.
Right? They look like fucking Craig. And it's like, okay, so this is probably where Halo was, is where Cyberpunk is. And Halo took a lot of heat and definitely disappointed a lot of fans, and it's going to cost them a lot of money to extend development for another full year. But if it comes out, I'll say if it comes out as good as we hope it does, then they just won the argument for why you should delay games.
Yeah.
Right?
And like, not only is it a Halo being delayed, like this was the launch title for the Series X.
Yeah.
Like,
This was like supposed to be the reason to buy the Series X.
yeah. So like Microsoft took a big hit doing that, but they're also smart enough to realize like we can't launch a game that isn't going to, you know, that isn't going to cut our stock price in half.
Yeah, and it would and we've talked with this before. It's like with Halo, like Halo as a franchise is hinging on this game. Because the last couple of Halos, while popular and successful, haven't really impressed the masses and haven't, you know, been so good as to bring in a bunch of new fans and maintain its popularity, right?
Yeah, no. And they've bought themselves a year longer to develop it, make it better, and an additional year of hyping it up.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, obviously, I mean, like, and I think, like we said this a bunch of times before as well. It's like we want every game to do good. I want every game that comes out to be amazing. Like, of course, right? And I've also never really spoke with anyone that was like, I can't believe they're delaying the game. This is stupid. I want to play it now. It's like, dude, delay the game as long as you have to make it great.
Absolutely.
Like, if I have to wait another 10 years for Elder Scrolls 6, great. As long as it comes out and is amazing.
I'm going to be like 94, like
Yeah.
barely. It's going to be like, but when I'm 95, it's going to be injected straight in my brain. I'm going to be having the best time possible at that point, though.
100%. Yeah, we won't be using our sentient bodies anymore.
I'm going to be like 490, like built into a computer when GTA 6 comes out, and it's going to be the best.
Exactly. I can't wait.
GTA 5 is going to get released on like 19 more platforms.
That's right. Yeah. There's still
GTA
6 more
6.
gens to come out before GTA 6 comes out. But yeah, I mean, there's, you know, if I need developers to commit to putting out an optimized, not many bugs, well realized game that hit the promises that they put out, and just not disappoint people, because it seems like every game that comes out is just disappointing people. And it's like dudes, like, I understand you need to make money, and like, of course, like, that's definitely a thing, but there has to be a way for developers to make money with like I don't know, like their B titles.
Well,
You know
also,
what I mean?
I think this goes back to an older point we made where like games have stayed the same price ish. Like ignore microtransactions. Development cycle has also pretty much stayed the same of like 2 to 3 years. But games are getting more expensive, more complex to make.
Yeah.
So we need to allow some, like, I guess Cyberpunk 27 is 7 years. Like it should be should be fine at this point, honestly.
100%.
Like the average,
but
average
the thing is
like
too, it's like I'm okay with paying $100 for a game that comes out that's absolutely phenomenal, and I get hundreds of hours out of it, or I have an amazing experience in like a 20-hour camp like thing. Like that's totally fine as well. Like I'm okay with paying $100 for something like that. Like The Witcher 3 could have been $100, and to be like this is totally worth it, like without a doubt.
Yeah, I think we need to like kind of progress, like we need to grow with the demand of like the technical demand of games, financially and time wise.
100%. And it's like, I don't know if an update sports game that comes out annually, if that needs to be $100, like, for roster updates and some small changes. I understand that being, your $59, $69, that kind of thing. Like, I get that. But for these brand new AAA titles that are supposed to be the best of the best, I'm okay with forking out an extra $30 if it means that these people are going to start developing games that actually deliver on what they're supposed to be doing.
Like if Cyberpunk was just like, Cyberpunk was like, yo, this is a 7-year game that we developed with a staff of 100 engineers. The game costs $150. If you want to go buy EA's newest fucking FIFA, that's just a reskin of the last FIFA for $50, you can go do that. But like maybe more of like a dynamic pricing model for games, where it's like if a game genuinely takes longer, like we're stuck in a thing where like every game is like a AAA title is $70 now.
Every game
doesn't matter if it's fucking FIFA or Cyberpunk or Halo or Call of Duty. They're all the same price. But in reality, like some of these games should be more expensive. Some of them should be less expensive.
100%. Yeah, there should be, like, I like that idea of the dynamic pricing system, right? Like you can, some kind of like, how like all games get like ESRB ratings, or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah.
Like they get like that kind. They go and they get like certified before they can be put on the PlayStation stores and all these kind of things. Like, shouldn't there be some sort of process where this game is determined as a AAA game or a AA game or whatever it may be? And if it falls into this category, then it gets priced higher or lower depending on what category it falls in, right?
I think we should just be able to give like the developer and the publisher the freedom to price
to charge what they think is right.
It's their product. Price it do the math. Look at the 7 years. Look at all the salaries paid. Look at like do the math, figure out the price of what it should be, and charge that price. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if they did that math, it'd be like fucking $400 for a game. Then don't do that. But like, it's a product. People who make a product price their product how they deem fits.
And part of that should be some kind of market analysis that determines that, okay, on average, people can afford X amount of dollars, right?
Yeah.
But then it's at the same time, it's like, if you like, it would be also a bit weird for, FIFA 2022 to come out. It's $130 and it's loaded with microtransactions and half the shit is blocked out. Like, then you're getting into another.
I mean, if EA wants to shoot themselves in the foot even more, go for
that's true. And again, the market would decide whether it's worth that price or not worth that price, right?
Yeah. But I feel like if Cyberpunk 2077 came out, it was, what was it? $70. It was $100, but it was perfect.
Yeah.
People would be all over that shit.
100%. Like, they'd be pissed off that the game is like $100. So it's like, games have been $69.99 for 12 years. Why is this one $100? But then you get it, and it's super well optimized and runs great and is super fun, and it's fully flushed out, and it's like it's a game, a phenomenal world to play a game in.
It's like when you would buy a game fucking on your N64. It works.
Exactly.
Games don't work anymore.
That's what it is, because since patching became so easy to do, there wasn't like a necessity to have a completely finished product, right?
Yeah.
Whereas with a cartridge experience, it whatever is there, then that's it.
Yeah. If you release a cartridge game and it was broken, like GG, that company that just released that is going out of business.
You're done. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. There needs to be some kind of sense of I don't know. I would just want there to be like some kind of, even if I was on a board of directors, like you would think there'd be some sense of pride into putting out a great product. Because if you put out a great product, then the market is going to respond to that positively, and that's going to make you even more money than just rush the game out because there's hype around it and it's Christmas.
I mean, you'd think
Like
that.
it's such a weird way of think. It's such a weird way of thinking. I don't understand that. Like,
But a lot of people on boards aren't really a part of that company, right?
no,
It's like
I
advisors
understand
from
that,
other
but even
companies,
just as a
and
business person.
like it's a whole new, it's a whole fucking other world, man.
Yeah, it's just so strange. I don't even just as a business person that didn't even know what you were sitting on a board for.
Some of those people on the board might not even know what a fucking video game is.
Amazing, but if they are there, then they certainly should understand that a positive market reaction or a positive consumer reaction can make or break your company.
Yeah, I'm
Surely,
sure. Yeah, 100%.
like for whatever it is you're selling, whether it's video games, whether it's dish soap. Right? Like it shouldn't matter. It's like
I just imagine someone walking on Monday like, all right, CD Projekt Red board, how did our just dish soap do this week? And it's like, Frank, we sell a video. What's a video game? Like,
a video game.
a video game? I could have swore we sold hand soap. I was wondering why it took 7 years to develop it. And cost $70 a bar. And then people were tweeting that it's full of bugs. Why is there bugs in our hand soap? That doesn't sound good.
I think we may have made some wrong decisions somewhere along the way. Yeah, dude, I don't know. I don't understand that high level of business, of decision making, whether it's through the developer or through the publisher or whatever it is. It's insane, and it's been going on for such a long time too. It's like that's not a new thing. It's just it seems now that it's just more prevalent that everything that comes out is not completed.
No, and right? I think we need to give. I mean, they had 7 years though. Like I want to say, on the most part, like companies should have a little bit more time to develop, a little bit more money and resources.
Mm-hmm.
But like 7 years. I didn't realize it was 7 year fucking development. That's crazy.
It's a long time, dude. It's a long time. It's a big studio. Again, and I just don't understand where such a gigantic shortcoming would go unnoticed, or at least not be considered a priority, or not have the foresight to realize that this is going to come back and bite you in the ass in the age where everyone's looking to chop other people down for anything.
Right.
Like, why wouldn't you think that some gigantic corporation is going to get chopped down when you're releasing a product that's horrendous in the fucking gaming community, as if they're nice people?
Yeah, like don't fuck with the gaming community.
A very understanding.
Holy shit.
Us gamers.
No.
Right? So I don't get it. I you don't want to see negative people lose jobs and companies go out of business and all these kind of things, but it almost seems like you need someone to do it so bad that it does cause a company to go out of business. So then like the rest of the industry could be like, let's not do a cyberpunk. Right? Like it's almost like something like that needs to be happening. It's like, they say about rules only get changed when like someone dies, right?
Yeah.
Like it takes someone dying before people will realize that there's an issue with whatever the thing is. And it's like maybe this industry, it takes a giant company losing everything for the industry to realize, okay, we have to stop doing this. Like the 30 gig day one patch and then wait for title update 1.2 to come out before the game is like actually playable. It's like what do you mean? Like that's 3 months after release. It's and like, why do I need to wait this long?
Like they said, like the console update's coming out in January and then February. So like there's 2 updates that have to come out. So it is going to be like 3 months before people on an OG console.
But will it even be playable then? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Who the hell knows?
They've had they've delayed it a while already. Like,
yeah. I don't know, man. It's weird. Like in my opinion, or I think in everyone's view, it should be, game comes out, game is phenomenal, and then you have like a 2-month window of playing the game, making sure servers are fine, maybe a little patches here and there just to fine tune a little thing or a bug that they didn't catch or something like that. That's totally fine. Mm-hmm. But the first big patch should be like new content, right? Or like they should be like the first patch for Cyberpunk, if it came out the way it should be like in like for like fucking Valentine's Day, because they're putting out like a Valentine's Day themed quest line or something like that, you know what I mean? Or Easter or some kind of St. Patrick's Day, like some kind of like it should be something like this that's like new content for people, new shit for people to do, not okay, you can put it back on the PlayStation Store. We're sorry, and maybe the game is playable now. As if people are going to give it another shot too, right? If you already refunded it, as if you're going to buy it again.
Yeah, and if they can regain the trust of Sony now.
Yeah, bro, like, they're gonna have they have, man. I don't know how you like. It just, and it's so sad too, because again, I haven't played yet because I'm not at my PC for another few weeks, but it's such a shame because all indications are that the game itself is very good.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's certain like, and we've said this a bunch of times now, but it's like there's certainly issues. But as an open world RPG, the game is supposed to be very, very fun with great quests and characters and voice acting and all that kind of shit. It's just so sad that
it should be working. It's like it's a fancier GTA.
Yeah. Like, I guess, yeah. I've avoided watching people play it, so I don't even really know how it plays. But yeah, I mean, we should be here talking about, dude, CD Projekt Red did it again. Like, if they just didn't release the current gen console version, we'd be sitting here and be like, man, CD Projekt Red is like on its way to being like, after Witcher 3, the great expansions for Witcher 3, now Cyberpunk, and it's all really good receptions. Like, man, they're like getting like Naughty Dog big.
Yeah.
Right?
Like this could have been taking them from a relatively small developer to being one of the big dogs.
Literally like a giant in the industry, and it's just and like people will always overshadow the positive with the negative. That's just like seems to be human nature these days. So again, to let something like that happen is just I don't understand. I can't wrap my head around it at any level, like from the lowest paid developer up to the board member who doesn't even know what a video game is. Like, I don't understand how it happens, how it doesn't make any sense. It's so disheartening for the industry.
Agreed.
Agreed. Do you have anything more that you wanted to talk about on Cyberpunk?
No. I mean, what more do we talk about? To recap, broken. Will be fixed. They might recoup by June next year. We'll see.
I'd be very interested to see where they go from here. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to episode 3777, the Cyberpunk Tire Fire 2020 or whatever the hell it's
Dumpster Fire. You got it wrong. Okay, reset entire episode.
So close. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you guys did enjoy. Let us know, man, if you guys are playing Cyberpunk. We'd love to know what your thoughts are. Again, it's tough to talk about, the good aspects of the game when everything's being overshadowed by all the negative. But I hope you guys are enjoying it if you guys are playing it on a platform that allows you to play it properly. I'm excited to play it on my PC for sure. But thank you guys for tuning in. Do appreciate if you guys are watching on the YouTube feeds. Consider liking, commenting, subscribing, all that good stuff that everyone else tells you to do. If you're listening on the audio feeds, consider following that channel as well. It does really go a long way in helping boost the old algorithm, our old friend, the algorithm.
And join the Discord.
Hey, let's go. Dudes, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate you. We do post every single Monday, and we'll see you guys